Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I am happy to be showing you the new Sew Yours pattern, the Sweetheart Shoulder Bag. This is a confident beginner bag. It is a really quick sew. It took me about an hour to cut it all out and to interface it. And to sew it, I had it done in about 3.5 hours, and I was shooting this tutorial at the same time. So it is a very fast sew with a really amazing outcome. It would be great if you needed a last minute gift or whatever, or if you just really want a bag that could be great for every day. It could be dressed up with fabrics. It could be dressed down with fabrics. It's kind of a tote style, but it's a fancy tote style. Let me show you some of the features of this bag. So you have this really awesome decorative top band that goes around both sides. It's closed with a magnetic snap, and on the inside is the real treat because you have the center divider pocket here, which everybody loves a center divider pocket. So we got a zipper pocket on one side, 2 slip pockets on the other, and this huge divider zipper pocket as well. Again, this bag went together really fast, but it still has that fancy look. What I used for this, my vinyl, is the rose color of Rex Faux Leathers from Emmeline Bags. This fabric here was a stash that I got from a thrift store. No idea what it's called, but I thought it matched the rose fabric really well. All my hardware is from Emmeline Bags, except for my zippers and zipper pulls are from Blue Cala. Interfacing in this bag, there are many options you can use for interfacing. You can use foam. I use Decovil Heavy in this one. So all of my cotton pieces I have interfaced with EBFuse Lite, medium woven interfacing, and Decovil Heavy for the main panels. And then for my center pocket, I added in just fleece just to give it a little bit more stiffness. So just on the external panels of that center zipper pocket. So yeah, it turned out super cute. So if you need a quick sew that looks fancy, this is definitely the pattern for you. And if you are a beginner bag maker, definitely make this one for sure, because it's an everybody type bag. Anybody can make this bag. Anyways, I would like to thank Melissa for allowing me to do a tutorial on her wonderful pattern. If you like this video and you would like to support my channel, I will leave a link down below to how you can buy me a coffee to help raise money for better equipment for my videos. And I'll also put a link down below as to where you can get this pattern. Melissa, who is the designer of this pattern, has also done a video. Oh yeah, that's something else I need to say. So I have included her tutorial down in the description below. One thing I did do a little bit differently from the pattern is I decided to do this as a drop-in lining. I thought it might be easier than turning it with the pocket. The instructions in the pattern is a birthed bag. So if you want to see how to birth this bag, definitely go and check out Melissa's tutorial. And if you want to see how to do it as a drop-in lining, this is the place to be. Anyways, let's get to making this bag and I'll see you guys on the other side.
Okay, so you're going to need rivets, number 5 zipper tape, a magnetic snap. You only need 2 number 5 zipper pulls and your nameplate. Very minimal hardware with this bag. Okay, so I have my standard overlay and slip pocket decorative things that I do in all my patterns, so I have those done. You need your 2 exterior pieces and 2 lining main pieces. You're going to need 2 pieces of stabilizer. I have chosen to use Decovil Lite. Your 2 zipper pocket lining pieces for your interior zipper pocket. Your slip pocket piece. All of my cotton pieces are backed with EBFuse Lite. You're going to need your 4 zipper pocket pieces, 2 exterior and 2 lining pieces. You need your 4 overlay pieces, 2 of C1, 2 of C2, 2 handles, and your overlay backing, 2 of those. You're also going to need 2 lining tops and 2 zipper tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and do my straps off camera. If you need a class on how to do that, it's in the description below. Okay, so first off, I'm going to take my overlay pieces and I'm going to put them side by side like so. I'm going to line up that kind of center part there, and we are going to go and sew that with a 1/4 inch of a seam allowance on both pieces. I'm chain stitching these to try to save on some thread and some time. This is how I do most of my sewing, is chain stitch. Okay, so now we want to open up those seam allowances. You can go ahead and finger press that if you want. If you know me, I love to use my double-sided tape. Please only use the double-sided tape if your machine can handle it. I'm on an industrial, so I have no issues. So you're going to go ahead and take that seam we just sewn and we are going to press it flat. And then on either side of that seam, we're going to go ahead with an 1/8 of an inch top stitch on either side of that seam, and we will repeat with the other overlay pieces. Okay, so that is done, as you can see here. So now what we want to do is we want to put this top overlay backing on. So what you're going to do is put them right sides together and match up the curvy sides. I've gone ahead and already clipped one side together. We're going to go ahead and sew these together with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to grab my other one and chain stitch them together again. Okay, so I've already gone and folded one out, and this is how we do this. So we're going to take this and we're going to kind of flip it around, wrong sides together, and finger press the seam really good. And then hold that seam in place with clips. Once we have that all done, like this one here, we're going to go ahead and we are going to top stitch it with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And once again, you can see I'm chain stitching those. Okay, so now what we want to do is from the straight side, we want to make a 2-inch line. And this is going to be where we're going to put our exterior piece here. So we're going to take some double-sided tape and put it along the top. Now this double-sided tape will not affect your sewing machine at all. So if you're on a domestic machine, you won't be sewing through this. So go ahead and use it. And what we want to do is we want to take our piece, our exterior piece, and put it like so, right up against that 2-inch line. So it's almost like our top band there is extending the height of our exterior piece. And then the overlay, of course, is going to give that wonderful decorative band across the top of our exterior piece, like so. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead along here and do another top stitch of a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on both the front and the back main pieces. Okay, so those are done. So I went ahead and I put my stabilizer, my Decovil Lite, on the back outside of the seam allowances, and also went ahead and installed my nameplate. Now, if you're going to do this like me by doing a drop-in lining, at this point you'd want to draw a 3/4 of an inch line right from the top there, and that is for later use. If you are doing as per the pattern, you do not need to worry about that. Now we want to match up our 3 sides. So match up where our top lining seams are first. We want to have a nice continuous line there. All the way down the left and the right sides, you're going to clip, and then of course on the bottom as well. And we're going to go ahead and sew those 3 sides with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we want to box those bottom corners. So the way you're going to do that is your side seam and your bottom seam, you're going to bring them together like so. You can open up these seams if you like. I am just going to nest my seams together. So match up the open ends like so, matching up those seams, and then use clips to hold that in place. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. I'll show you how I did that again. Kind of open up the box like so and bring the seams together, and either open up those seams or nest them like I'm doing. And then we're going to go ahead and sew along those parts with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so see, it's created our bottom by boxing those corners. And now you can skip this part if you are going to be doing the birthing method, but because I am going to be doing a drop-in lining, I'm going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape right along that line that we drew, that 3/4 of an inch line that we drew, all the way around on the inside. Okay, and then once that's done, what you're going to do is take the raw edge of the top and fold it into that 3/4 of an inch line. What this is doing for our drop-in lining, that is the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance that we would be sewing the bag and the lining together when you're doing the birthing method. So that's just taking that seam allowance into effect and encasing those raw edges. So go ahead and put that aside for now. Now let's do our zipper, our interior zipper pocket divider. So I'm using vinyl zipper ends, so I'm going to take them and go ahead and put them right sides together with the zipper and stitch them together with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now this way is a little different than the pattern because I am using vinyl. If you are using a fraying fabric, please follow how to do this in the pattern. So I'm going to pull this away like so, fold it over the other side of the zipper, and it's going to be longer on one side. That is okay. And I'm going to go ahead and top stitch with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on the right side of that zipper tab. Having it longer in the back is ensuring that I'm catching both sides of that zipper tab. Okay, and then all you're going to do is on the back of the zipper where that zipper tab's longer is just trim it up to an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance just through the zipper tab like so. And then go ahead and make sure your zipper tabs are the same width as your zipper tape. Okay, so now we want to take our divider pocket. I've gone and I put a chalk line the center of my zipper tape. I'm going to take one of the lining pieces and one of the exterior pieces of our interior divider pocket. I'm going to find the centers of the top of both of my exterior and lining pieces. Okay, and then I'm going to take some tape. Again, use clips if your machine can't handle the tape. But I am going to use a double-sided tape as my basting agent here, and I am going to center my zipper right side up on the lining right side up. Double check that it is center, which I am. And then I'm going to take my exterior divider pocket piece, some double-sided tape along the top, and then I am going to put this right sides together with the lining and the zipper, like so. And then we are going to sew across this with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I already had my zipper foot on my machine. I sewed this whole project with my zipper foot on. But if you didn't have your zipper foot on at this point, go ahead and put it on, as it'll make your zippers nice and straight. It helps to avoid a non-wavy zipper. Okay, and again, you can take this to an iron to press these away from the zipper if you like. I am just going to use my double-sided tape, and I am going to pull the exterior as taut as I can away from the zipper teeth. And then I'm going to bring the lining side, wrong sides together with that exterior piece, nice and taut away from the zipper teeth as well. And then you are going to go ahead and top stitch along that with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once you are done all that, go ahead and repeat the whole process with the other side of the zipper tape and the other two lining and main zipper pocket panels. Okay, so once that's done, this is what we have. So now we want to fold it so the lining sides are together and match up our 3 sides. So the 2 sides, the left and right side, and the side on the bottom. Make sure you're catching all 4 layers, the 2 lining and the 2 exterior pieces. And we are going to baste this together with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, leaving the corners unsewn. So just down the left and the right side and along the bottom. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've done my zipper pocket and my slip pocket because I do them the same in all my bags and they're slightly different than the pattern. If you are doing the birthing method, do not sew your zipper pocket shut like I have because you will be turning the bag through that zipper pocket. But because I'm doing a drop-in lining, I went ahead and sewed mine shut. Okay, so now we want to attach the straps to these lining pieces. So from the center mark, we want to measure to the left and to the right of that mark 4 inches. And this is going to be the placement of our straps. So the inside of the strap is just going to sit at that mark. Make sure your strap's not twisted and it's the way it's supposed to be. And then you're going to go ahead and baste these on with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on the other side as well. Okay, so that is all done. Now we're going to take our lining top, make sure it's centered on there, and we are going to clip it right sides together to the top of that lining piece. And then we are going to take this to the machine and we are going to sew this in place with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and repeat with the other lining panel. I like to go back and forth over the handles just to make sure they have a little extra stitching in there. I just go slightly in on the seam allowance there with my back stitch. And you can see I am once again doing chain stitch of the 2 panels just to save myself some thread. Okay, then the next thing we want to do is we want to press that seam down towards facing the bottom of the bag. You can go ahead and finger press this or iron it depending if you don't have any vinyls or whatever that would melt. I again am using my tape and going to push it so the seam is going towards the bottom of the bag. And then we are going to go ahead and top stitch with a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along the bottom part of this panel. And you will repeat with the other side. Okay, so that's all done. So again, if you're doing the drop-in lining like me, I'm going to go ahead and just make my 3/4 of an inch line here. It just makes it easier later on when it comes to folding this top edge in. Again, if you are doing the birthing method, you do not need to draw this line. Okay, so now we are going to install our magnetic snaps. So centered on here, you want to go 1 inch up from where the bottom part of the lining panel begins on both parts and install your male and your female ends of the snaps. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done that. Now we are going to install our zipper, our divider pocket to our lining. So you're going to take where the box corners are here, just line them up along the right side. It's going to seem like the zipper pocket is too small for in there, but that is exactly what we want because this is all going to be boxed together. So it's going to bring it in. So then you're going to just take this side and baste this on with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so that's all done. Now you're going to take your other lining panel, put it right sides together. I'm going to click my magnetic snaps into place here. We are going to line up the bottom of the side here. We're going to make sure that where our top lining panels meet, that we have a nice continuous line there. So make sure those seams match up well. And then we are going to take this part to the machine, just this one side, and we are going to go and stitch it with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so that's done. Actually, I forgot to tell you, we're going to do 3/8 of an inch to about 1/3 of the way down, and then branch out to 5/8 of an inch, just to make it so our lining will be a little more snug. Okay, so now the other sides, you're going to kind of pull it over, and it's going to feel a little bit awkward here because it feels like the zipper pocket is too small, but trust me, it is not. So go ahead and pull it over just like we did with the other side, and baste this with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then what we'll do is we will take the other lining side here, and then we will sew it with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance from the top to about 1/3 of the way down, and branch out to a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance down to the bottom box corner. Okay, so that's all done, and this is what we have. And now we are going to close up this bottom. So you are going to take, again, it's going to feel like your lining pieces are too big, but they're not, trust me. And you're going to line up the zipper pocket bottom and the two lining bottoms nice and flush together. You can kind of see how the box corner is going to be coming together here. So go ahead and match up those three layers of raw edges, and then you're going to sew across the bottom, bringing the two lining pieces and the divider pocket piece together with the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so that's done. Now this is the trickiest part, and it's really not that hard. So we want to box these corners, but we want to ensure that we are catching that divider zipper pocket in with those box corners. So what you're going to do is reach into that zipper pocket, and you're going to see my finger here. I'm going to be poking through the small hole there that's left of that teeny tiny box corner of that zipper pocket. And we are just going to make sure that we are catching that seam in with the boxing of the lining pieces. So we're boxing it exactly like the exterior, except for we have to make sure we're catching that opening in the bottom corners of the divider zipper pocket as well. And I am opening up my seams here and using my clips to put it together. You'll do this the same on the other side, and then you're going to sew these all together with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so that's all done. So I am just going to reach into that divider pocket and make sure there's no raw edges that are hanging out, and that we actually caught those holes, and I did. So now you're going to want to stuff these handles into the bag as well, so they're out of the way. Well, we will be doing that when we go to sew it. So at this point, you would either be putting your exterior inside your lining and then sewing it with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and turning it through the pocket and then top stitching, but I am doing a drop-in lining. So I went ahead on my lining piece, just like we did with the exterior, and folded my top raw edges into that 3/4 of an inch line, and now I'm putting them in wrong sides together. I am going to first match up my side seams here and make sure that my lining panel and my exterior panels are matched up nice and even along the top. Go ahead and do the other side, and you can see I have my handles all stuffed into the center. We want to do that. We do not want to accidentally catch them in our stitching when we're going and stitching this closed. What's nice about this method is you don't have to turn it through, and I find when I'm using Decovil Lite, it tends to dislodge itself, and then it gets all wrinkled, and then you have to try to heat it up in a way to do that, to get the wrinkles out. So you can see we have it all together. Now, if I was doing this on my flatbed, I would go ahead and I would sew this from the inside of the bag and just make sure that my bobbin thread is really nice, because it would be what is shown. But I am doing this on my cylinder arm, so this just makes the whole process so easy. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch around here with a 1/4 of an inch top stitch. Okay, so that's all done. As you can see, all my things went well. Everything stuck together well. All that was left to do was go ahead and rivet the handles so they have some security, and you just rivet it through both layers, and we are done.
That's it. That's all, folks. See, it was a very fast sew and very easy sew with a few. I think the most hard part was probably doing the zipper pocket on the inside, the center zipper pocket, but it really is not that hard to do. You just take it slow and you go ahead. And as you can see, it works as a drop-in lining as well if you decided that was easier for you, like I thought for me. But I do have a cylinder arm, so of course doing a drop-in lining is just so much easier. It's the whole point I got my cylinder arm. Anyways, so yeah, if you like this video, remember to like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can do so down below in the description. Catch you guys on the next one. Bye.